Do good to yourself with as little evil as possible to others. That's a quote from Jean-Jacques Rousseau, a renegade Swiss-born philosopher from France who advocated for compassion or pitié. We ideally want this quote to be the means by which we all live by. But lately, life in the U.S. has been difficult. There's a lot of anger, frustration, disbelief, outrage, and a lot of information being suppressed while history is being rewritten or not acknowledged at all. This can't happen in a free society in the 21st century. If you see something wrong, you have an obligation to do something. We are all under a threat of suppression, and there have been blatant attempts to ignore what is the truth. And it's time for us to get off the bench. This is me doing what I can, using my love for history and storytelling to ensure that facts about our country's history stay alive, even if they aren't being celebrated by our current administration in certain months as they used to be. It's important that fact and truth be spread, not delusion and deceit. We owe it to ourselves to remember the contributions of all people who pushed this country forward and at one time made this country something to be proud of. When my sons were little, we lived in a Connecticut town in which minorities were truly the minority. Because of this, I made it my business to make sure that my sons knew about the Black people who contributed to this country's history, and to look beyond the Black history figures schools felt safe talking about. So, if you're like me, don't rely on others to do what you should be doing. Go to the library. Ask the librarian for suggestions on books and documentaries that talk about your history, whatever that history is. Let me introduce myself. I'm the OG fact checker. I love history, and I'll bring you juicy tidbits of cool moments in our country's history, and nobody is off the table. Black history? Oh yes. Women's history? Of course. To the Latinos, mi gente, te contaré tu historia. LGBTQ, I got you. And to the Asians, I see you. And to the Pacific Islanders, have a seat right there. And to the Cherokee, the Seminole, the Navajo, and other indigenous nations and tribes, there is no way I could leave you off the table. Ever. There will be no misinformation, no misinterpretation of any story I tell you. Plus, I have access to one of the biggest libraries in our nation. No use of AI or unverifiable sources. My sources will be cited. Do you hear me? Come for the truth. Stay for the story.